feel like it's been forever. I feel like it's been like 2 or 3 years since I've made a video, but it's actually only been like a little over a year and a half, which is still a long time. But now I actually have time to make videos again. I want to get back to the nitty gritty. Got that itch again. I had a lot going on. My wife just got orders to the UK, and as we speak now, I am living in the UK. So while I'm recording, you guys are probably asleep counting sheep, man. So, but what I want to do, man, I just want to take my channel and just shine a new light on it. I don't want to go back to bashing anything. I just feel like it's a good time right now because there are a couple football games on the rise, like Canadian football or Axis football, and then there's still Madden. Of course, they're not, you know, direct competitors right now, but you know, in a few years, we don't know what we will see. So what I want to do is take my channel and talk about what we're actually missing from football gaming. Now, you see a lot of wish lists out there. Surprisingly, a lot of these wish lists want simulation aspects into the game. You know, you still have a couple wish lists out there who just want like new mouthpieces and jerseys and tattoos and stuff, but usually those are a younger crowd. But like I said, I just want to take my channel and shine a new light on it. Now, I don't want to make this intro too long because I want to jump into my first subject. I have been jotting down a few ideas that I've had in these past couple months, and I've talked to a couple people on Twitter just to kind of feel where the community's at, or the whatever the football gamers are at right now, and I feel like it's, you know, it's pretty much in the same spot. So what I want to talk about today, to go into my video, I want to talk about injury prone players. Now, what is a injury prone player? We all pretty much know what that is. Players who just, you know, they cannot keep off the sideline. These guys are on the field for a couple games, you know, maybe 10, 13 games, and then they just cannot finish a season. These guys are just constantly under a doctor. Now, I want you to think about the last time you were playing a game of Madden, or maybe NFL Fever or NFL 2K for the old heads out there. And you know, you're in your off season, and here comes draft day or free agency. Now, you've done your scouting, you've done your homework on that hot new player that's, you know, inevitably reaching the end of his contract, and you're intent on snatching up this new free agent or this new rookie out of college. Now, your scouting report says this rookie is amazing, or you check out the overall stats of this free agent and you're pretty much already sold. Now, you're ready to sign this contract, but then you discover how low and pathetic his injury rating is. Now, pause. I want you to think about this real quick. How many times have you seen the stats of a amazing player in the draft or free agency, and then you looked at his injury rating, and then that just deterred you from actually picking this player up? A lot of times we don't even really pay attention to it. We just kind of grab them anyway. Now, I know there are a select few out there who try to play the game as real as possible, but for the most part, you don't even really pay attention to it. To be honest, I really don't even pay attention to it because I know when I'm playing, and the only game right now that I've played lately is Madden. Whenever I do pick up a player and he's, you know, let's say he's injury prone or he has a rating of 70, it really doesn't come in effect. Now, I play with the Carolina Panthers. Every time I play a game on Madden or 2K or whatever, I play with the Panthers. Now, Jonathan Stewart, our running back, that's a banged up brother. Now, this dude has a laundry list of injuries, and I want you to take a look at this picture right here. 2010, 3 different injuries. 2012, 2 different injuries. 2013, 2 different injuries. 2014, 2 different injuries. 2015, 1 injury. In 2016. Now, this dude has been injured so many times to the point where I'm just like, Carolina, why are you even keeping this dude anymore? Now, every time I play a game of Madden, a lot of times I can play with Jonathan Stewart and I won't see one injury during the entire season. Now, I'm not saying that it cannot happen, because Madden, the injury rating can come in effect, but for a player like Jonathan Stewart, he should have at least 1 or 2 injuries. You know what I'm saying? Like missing a couple games here and there. But a lot of times that doesn't come into play. So injury prone players don't really put fear in people's hearts, and it should. Whenever you're choosing a player in the draft or free agency, that should definitely be on your radar. Like, hey, this dude is a beast, but how long is this guy gonna actually last for me? Is he actually durable? Can he take these hits? You know, and when you look at a long laundry list like this right here, a lot of times a lot of people are not going to keep a player like this. You just can't justify keeping a player like this, especially when he's turning 29, 30, 31. This is just not a reason to even go forward. Now, I'm not saying that these players can't bounce back from injuries, because, you know, Adrian Peterson has. Hell, Jonathan Stewart even had a good year after all these injuries here. But for the most part, the injury rating should definitely come into play. Now, I want you to look at this picture right here, and it is a beautiful picture, and I think that, you know, football games should definitely go in this direction. Now, when you're looking at your player ratings, you know, like your speed, your jumping, all this stuff, remove injury altogether, and I want you to, it should be a tab for each player, like I don't know, somewhere in the menu or on your franchise, where it shows the player and it should show the body and where his injuries are, and there should be maybe like a color system, kind of like wrestling. If you've ever played WWE, every time a player gets banged up or hit on a certain part of his body, that limb will go from green to yellow. And I believe NFL head coach has also done that. If you've played that game before, you know, every time a player gets a MCL or a shoulder or anything, like if Jonathan Stewart's shoulder was to you know, be dislocated a few times, maybe you would see his stiff arm rating go down a couple points. You know what I mean? Concussions, maybe you would see him more for a player who's had a player who has had concussions a few times. But I don't think the NFL games are even putting that in games now, because they're trying to steer clear of concussions. But like I said, this is a beautiful picture, and I feel like these type of pictures should be in the game, and it may be asking for too much, and it is like kind of like an RPG element. But I think it would be nice, and it would make the game a lot more realistic. So this picture just shows the nagging injuries that are concerned with the player. Now, also one thing that should be put on here, a new rating that should be put in the picture, is willpower. Players like Tony Romo have gotten hurt, cracked ribs, but they've had the willpower to come out there and still play the game. Now, how that will work is, you know, you would see Tony Romo get the cracked ribs, and then you know, a couple plays later, you would see it would say Tony Romo wants to come back, and if you say, hey, let him in, and let him in. But players like Ryan Matthews, these guys will get hurt, and then they won't want to come back. They say, I'm done. I've gotten hit too many times. It's too much pain for me. I am done. Just leave me out of the game. And that's just showing that he has a lower willpower. So I think that's something that could be added into a football game. And like I said, these are just ideas. Maybe these ideas will work. Maybe they will. Who knows? Maybe these consoles are not powerful enough to implement this type of realness. But at the same time, I am just talking about ideas that would actually make injury-prone players, make you think before you actually sign these players. And one more thing, the O-line, the offensive linemen, they need to get injured too. They do not, if they have, I haven't seen it in a while, but they do not get injured. And maybe it's because in the game they're not on the field getting hit, stick and stuff like that, but you really don't see offensive linemen getting injured either. And that is a part of the NFL. That is a part of real life. So guys, tell me what you think. This is the type of videos I want to make. I want you guys to get in the comment section, sound off, talk about these injury-prone players. Do you think that the ratings are what they should be? And also another thing, I put a survey on Twitter talking about the ratings and should you be able to change them. And just to kind of piggyback on that, I think that's a yes and no. If you got a player whose injury rating is 60, I do believe in the player actually being able to become stronger and get back on the field, but I think that it should be capped off. Like Dak Prescott injury rating is going to be high. It'd be like a 90 or something, but I don't think a player that injury rating with 60 should be able to jump up to 90. I just don't think that's really possible. I think that it could go up from 60 to 80 or something like that, but it has to be capped off, because once you tear the MCL, or once you have that concussion, it's not going to be the same. You're probably gonna have another concussion. You're probably gonna end up injuring your leg again. So that's how I feel about that. But like I said, sound off in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these games, man. I want to see some changes. I want to see some of these ideas maybe implemented into the game. Axis, Canadian, Madden, whatever. And this is my new channel, man. I found my resolve. What's yours?